You think you're better than me? Tony Hinchcliffe. Motherfucking Tony Hinchcliffe, you think you're better than me? You're dust in the wind, you will die. You took everything, you greedy motherfucker. You and your friend Brian Redband, you took everything, but you guys are dust in the wind. You will be cremated or put in the ground. You took everything, but you are dust in the wind. Listen to that song and realize, you fucking young, ignorant motherfuckers, when you get to the other side, Tony and Brian, you will realize it wasn't about money and power, it was about friendship and love. You will finally get that when you go to the other level. But you are so ignorant, you will not get it till you go to the next level. You will get it. It was about love and friendship. It's not about fucking money and power.
When I first started Critical Leaks, I began writing this very script. Full disclosure, this whole ongoing storyline kind of runs very close to my heart. I'm proud to say that Jeff Crabtree, the Iron Patriot himself, is a friend of mine. About a year ago, I had to separate myself from him and his growing community on YouTube. But to he and to the crab people of yester, this video comes from a place of love and fascination. Hefe, I know you're hearing this. It's Druid, and you're still my dude. I hope you can hear the love and respect in the way I tell your story as it stands. You the man, Hefe. To everyone else, hear me out on this one, because it's a story that no one else is telling or has told. Not from this perspective, at least. Anyway, I'm a, quote, fan of Kill Tony. In that I've listened to every episode at least once. And yes, I'm talking from when it was still called Hinchcliffe's Notes. I've closely followed many of the sub-stories and incidental plots it has spawned. The Hans Kim saga, the Ballad of Brian Redband, the redemptive takeover of the legend William Lights Out Montgomery, Malcolm Hatchett, the evolution of Drew Nickens, Michael fucking Lair, RIP. Hell, Timmy No Breaks. But one storyline that few are familiar with, a story that time has relegated to all but myth, and the next story in our running series where we tell the tales of Tony Hinchcliffe's victims, is among the first on what can only be considered a very long list. See, the Iron Patriot was there for the creation of Kill Tony. He was on the ground floor. Tony hates the mention of his name and has repeatedly smeared his reputation over the years, which has led to Kill Tony fans, a notoriously fickle bunch, am I right, comments, to almost constantly harass him online. And though many have forgotten his contributions to the juggernaut of a show that Kill Tony has become, I could not make a video about Tony's victims without mentioning Jeff, the Comic Patriot, Crabtree. Before there was a band, before the move to Austin, literally before Kill Tony was called Kill Tony, Jeff, Comic Patriot on X, was there. When they met, Jeff was a professional extra on Hollywood productions and a street performer working for tips on the Hollywood Boulevard. He was dressed as Iron Man and called himself the Iron Patriot. Tony Hinchcliffe spotted him there, in the costume, and rightly believed it would be a good running bit to bring the Iron Patriot on as, quote, security.
With an interesting outlook on... If you don't know, the Iron Patriot told us at one point that he bought the suit to come here and be part of Kill Tony, and he takes the bus here every day and night because in his suit, this $5,000 custom-made suit from what country?
Norway.
From Norway, he can't sit down. So the reason that he takes the bus is because he has to stand up to get here.
Yes. The middle section's made of ABS plastic, so it'll break if I sit down. but it's nice because it's nice and light, and I can move around it. You know, I can get the hips going like this.
Well, I'm glad that you're here, Patriot, and he's our head of security, even though he's completely immobile in that thing. Really.
Jeff was in a rock band that was popular in Dallas back in the 90s. He would do live renditions of his own original songs just about every episode. On top of these original music performances, he also has a good sense of humor. Jeff's got pretty tough skin, and because it didn't hurt his feelings on the surface, Jeff would let Tony and the guests roast him throughout the episodes. Some took it farther than others, including Doug Benson, who saw something he didn't like in Jeff and took the opportunity to berate and degrade him more than anyone else had.
With the Death Squad in the past year or so. And you know him from Doug Loves Movies. His movie's super high. And it's the one and only Doug Benson, everybody, is here.
I've got so many things, questions.
I do too.
Are you doing a question for me?
Yes, I do.
Let's start it off. Here we go.
I did some research on you, Doug.
Oh, good Lord. How can you read in that costume?
The first thing I did was I went on iTunes and listened to your podcast, Doug Loves Movies. And then I went back and listened to an Adam Carolla podcast with you that was so old you guys mentioned MySpace. And the thing that I want to ask you is, one time Adam said that he thinks all the Cheech and Chong movies suck. Now, the way I look at it is the first one, Up in Smoke, in '78, that was a classic.
Walk us through all of them.
The other ones weren't that good.
You know everyone in this audience is waiting to get up and tell a joke? They are just putting up with your bullshit.
I'll never get the chance to
just
talk to you
because
again.
you're a genuine superhero. You'll get a chance to talk to me again. Are you kidding me? We're going to do the Rogan Show together.
Oh, yeah. Hey,
Can you see what I'm doing with my head?
It's in Pulp Fiction. It could mean anything. You can use your imagination.
I admire how Comedy Patriot can lay back like that. Like, he's not pushy. He doesn't jump in when he's not being spoken to.
Now, Tony already said...
What did I just say?
But passing jabs like these weren't enough for Doug Benson. He'd gotten a taste of blood and wanted to finish the meal. So when Redban and Tony were invited as guests onto Doug's hit podcast, Getting Doug with High, Doug insisted that they bring the Iron Patriot. Let me iterate, because it's important that you understand that Doug, by his own admission, insisted that Tony and Redban bring Jeff along on the episode.
Well, like Eric Andre doesn't smoke a lot, so he needed a hoodie and then was like trying to pull his shirt up over his head and stuff, and that was interesting. Jeff Ross just went into like roast mode, couldn't stop saying roast jokes.
Really?
Yeah, I would ask him questions, he wouldn't even answer them. He'd just say another joke about our space mint.
Throughout that episode, Jeff tries many times to connect with Doug, who uses Jeff's eagerness and vulnerability as a weapon against him. Doug sees him as naive, as less than. Not only that, but the point of Getting Doug with High was to smoke as much cannabis as possible, then talk about random stuff. The problem was, Jeff had only smoked a handful of times in the previous 20 years.
Carbon dioxide?
Yeah.
I had to check for scientific words for a second.
I'd like to thank you guys for that weed you gave me last week. I haven't got stoned in a long time.
How'd it work out for you?
It made me ponder the mysteries.
Now, for those who don't know, the more you smoke cannabis, like with any substance, the higher your tolerance gets. And as you can see, Doug knew that Jeff didn't have any tolerance. And since the Iron Patriot couldn't smoke on his own due to his full body suit and lack of range of motion, Doug encouraged everyone to blow their smoke up into the Iron Patriot's mask.
I see.
Could that be a thing?
What if she microwaves the pizza first before eating it?
Yeah, what if then?
Are you going to spin around the microwave? How are you going to run that fast?
So hold on. So it's okay. So it's a guy who gets his dick sucked through pizza boxes. That's what you've been watching. All right, that's cool.
Not really.
And just like Doug suggested, they spent the entire episode blowing as much smoke as they could toward the Iron Patriot.
And they go, what's going on? What's with this thing? That's kind of romantic.
Erotic.
Erotic, yeah. Very weird.
Yeah, do you ever have that problem though with like bongs? Like you just suck it and it goes right into the I think I got like the smallest hit. Most of it just went into the bong water.
But there is water in there?
Yeah.
Well, the trouble is, like with with a bong like this, when you grind the weed and then put it in there, it's so small that it's like it's hard to. We could just put a clump in there for you. I've neglected to mention what we're smoking today, and I feel like a total failure not really getting a hit at 420.
Here.
Oh, I'll hit that.
Yeah, hit that.
Kidding me?
Patriot, have you ever gotten high in the soup before?
Yeah, well, I mean, I first came down to the comedy store June 11th, and you guys started getting me high again, but I had 5 years and no smoking.
Oh.
So you guys got me back in the game.
Oh, no, fellas.
Jesus.
Yeah.
They got him back into it like we touched on before. And keep in mind that because he's just getting back into smoking, his tolerance is non-existent. Combine that with smoking Doug Benson grade weed, and that's a lot of THC in an unsuspecting mind.
And it was a winter night and take my shirt off.
He took his shirt off. If you know Tony, Tony's not one of those guys that's just like, hey,
I
guys,
feel like
look at
we're
my
throwing scraps to the dog while we're having a meal.
Do you feel anything yet?
Yeah, I'm feeling real good. I'm starting
Oh, man.
It's such a good aroma.
Yeah, well, let me tell you about the...
Scraps to the dog. How respectful, Doug. Doug's loving this. He's king of the moment, and he sees Jeff as his dog to which he's throwing scraps. But Jeff is taking it in stride. He's not letting Doug get to him and letting these needless downward punches roll off his back like a fearsome crab.
Leafly reviewers say not to plan to do anything important while you're on it. Don't do anything important. So
It screws with your short-term memory.
Yeah,
Your long-term memory is good as can be. You can remember memories from your childhood, but where your keys are, you can't find them.
I can only imagine the horrible things you don't want to remember from your childhood.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because all superheroes' parents were killed in front of them, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a hard life.
What's that thing you say that that the superheroes say? Your superhero creed? or
Norman
something?
Osborn, who's Iron Patriot, he says, I will lead these new Avengers into battle against anyone who would threaten our way of life. I am the Comic Patriot.
Throwing a little pew pew at the end.
Hey, Doug, you like to get on the internet when you get stoned and look at some porn and Jackie Smack?
Jackie Smack.
I knew if we talked to you too much, something like that would happen.
Yeah.
A little over 10 minutes into the episode, Doug started in on the Patriot. His attitude toward Jeff was always passive-aggressive, and he's never nice to him. But now that Doug was in his own territory, he seemed to smell more blood in the water. Watch his face as he tries to break the Patriot down. Remember that Tony and Brian didn't plan to bring him on the show with them. Doug insisted. He wanted this. Patriot is a good sport, but Doug refuses to relent. The more Patriot tries to level with Doug, to befriend him, the more Doug degrades him. I knew if we talked to you too much, then things like this would happen. Things like what, Doug? Things like he would speak back to you? This is such Cali boy bullshit, and the more he kicks the Patriot around, the more I realize just how much I literally hate Doug Benson. Keep watching, because it does get worse.
Who's been the highest on your show so far? Because I think you said there was one person that was just tripping out.
Well, like Eric Andre doesn't smoke a lot, so he needed a hoodie and then was like trying to pull his shirt up over his head and stuff, and that was interesting. Jeff Ross just went into like roast mode, couldn't stop saying jokes.
Really?
Yeah, I would ask him questions, he wouldn't even answer them. He'd just say another joke about our spacement. And
What about that Jenny
Jesus!
girl?
it's scary when he speaks out of nowhere.
You know that episode with Jenny?
Hey,
Yeah, Jenny Slate, she kind of spaced out at one point.
Yeah,
It was adorable.
that was really cute.
Yeah. Thanks for that. But remember the speak when spoken to thing we talked about?
Yeah, seriously.
Seriously, dude.
No, I mean, the speaker's right there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's fucking scary.
Well, I like that part of it. I wish it would startle you every time.
No.
That part I enjoyed. Let me say a couple of facts about this beauty.
If there is a more degrading thing to say to a guest on your podcast than, remember that whole speak when spoken to thing we talked about? I'd love for you to tell me in the comments. Jeff expressed interest and, moreover, insight into Doug's show, and he contributed to the conversation when Doug was gassing out. But Doug seldom misses a chance to take shots at the Patriot. This continues on and on as the whole group blows every hit into Jeff's suit and degrades him when he tries to speak. Hell, to Tony's credit, it's mostly Doug Benson. A little bit of Red Band, but I'd say 90% of the insults being hurled at Jeff were from the wrinkled hands of Doug Benson. And, well, as would happen to any of us in that scenario, Jeff pretty much lost his mind. He got so high. Gaslit by Doug Benson's sarcastic hints, Jeff began to believe that Doug wanted him as a part of Getting Doug with High, a permanent fixture on his show.
But this is what we do every day.
Damn.
What if any of my guests in the future want him standing there like that? Is that okay? Can I borrow him? Or is he exclusive to Kill Tony?
It's a good question.
And how can people see Kill Tony? What should they do to check it out? Because I think it's a really fun show.
That's Death Squad. .tv, iTunes. You can find it there. Live Mondays at the Comedy Store.
It's free to get in. If you're in the area, you can just go in and watch.
And we're coming.
I don't blame the Patriot for believing that Doug actually wanted to make him a part of the show. In fact, I'm not sure that Doug was actually fucking with him there. I think he genuinely asked, and I think Tony stonewalled him. So Tony pivoted to plugging Kill Tony and kind of cockblocked the Patriot. Picture a world wherein Tony was a good friend to Jeff and was like, totally, Doug loves movies, and I think your guests are going to have a great time with him. Patriot's audience would have grown massively. It's hard to believe, but at the time, Getting Doug with High was a way bigger show than Kill Tony. It would have been a huge opportunity for Jeff. By contrast, Kill Tony was still doing free shows in the belly room of the Comedy Store. Tony was playing tiny tyrant with Jeff's growth opportunity. And why? Other than being a control freak, why not let Jeff spread his damn wings a little? He was going back and forth about movies with Doug, albeit in a way that led Doug to insult and degrade him, but I think that proposal was genuine. I think Tony got kind of intimidated and controlling and refused to share what he saw as his Iron Patriot. And this is where our story takes a bit of a dark turn. By his own account, Patriot wasn't in his right mind. Still high and out of his mind on Benson-grade Cali Bud, and likely feeling spurned that Tony outwardly denied his opportunity to join another show. And as understandable as that frustration was, the Iron Patriot made a call to Tony Hinchcliffe that he regrets to this day.
Exciting week it's been. We did Getting Doug with High on Wednesday. Me, Red Band, and the Iron Patriot.
Yes. If you guys don't know him, he's this guy.
Yep.
This is him right here. Little Iron Patriot.
It's him. Hi. This is his. There we are. That's his doll. The man has a doll.
Yep.
So yeah, it was an exciting week, and then, as you can tell, for the first time since episode 1. There is no Iron Patriot here.
Yeah.
Oh no, Brian.
No.
I get a phone call while I'm having coffee doing some writing the day after getting dug with high, and the Iron Patriot quit Kill Tony
Yeah.
in a stunning turn of events.
A couple weeks ago, I was promoting his CD on iTunes. Just no reason. I have no reason to do this. I'm just trying to help him out.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying to the Patriot, was that he's insane for that you'll never be able to build relationships in any form of show business if you burn each bridge that you go to. So the next day, that day that he quit, not even an hour later, I'm in communication with Doug Benson, who says the Iron Patriot just asked if he could be a regular on my show. At which Doug replied, I could see the response time was so fast. It was so fast. And he goes, no chance of that happening.
This betrayal enraged Tony. So, for the next several dozen episodes, Tony brought people on the show wearing a cheap Iron Man costume to, quote, show the Patriot that anyone can do his job.
All right, let's get this thing going. Every week we have a head of security who comes out and keeps us safe. It's always somebody different because the original guy who did it the first 30-some episodes told us that he was irreplaceable and that if we didn't figure something big out for him, he was going to leave the show. And he did. He fucking did. But to show him how replaceable he is, we've replaced him with literally a different Iron Patriot.
In fact, it wasn't until episode 100 that Jeff was invited back to be on the show. The Patriot thought this would be another chance at his big break. But unfortunately, Tony seemed to only invite him on so they could mock and berate him, rub his previous mistake in his face. The most notable of these guests being Joe Rogan himself.
Great question, Patriot. You have any questions for Joe?
Yeah, I want to talk to Joe. Joe, you might not remember this, but a while back on the Joe Rogan Experience number 367 with Bobby Marcus.
Are you going to tell me the same shit you already told me backstage?
No, but I want to tell in front of the podcast crowd.
Why are you pretending like you didn't already say it then?
Okay.
You said you might not remember this. Motherfucker, you just told me. What a shitty way to begin a conversation.
Okay, well, this is a question I'll ask. You go all over the world with Tony doing comedy. Now, what's it like going on the road with him? Is he, compared to other partners you've went with?
These questions are fucking terrible. I refuse to help you.
And it's not called partners.
I know, what are you?
We're not comedy partners.
Okay, this is the last try. This is the last try, Joe. One more try.
No, you fuck.
No more questions,
These are
Patriot.
terrible. There's no potential.
Can I do one more try?
No, Patriot, fucking no, you son of a bitch. No, stop talking. What did I tell you, Patriot? I told you before. Patriot, I told you before this show that if you get out of hand, I'm gonna have the two biggest store guys drag you and scrape your outfit all the way up in the middle of fucking sunset. Alright? So just behave yourself and relax. I will talk to you. When I ask for something, then you can talk. You're an...
After that, Jeff didn't hear from Tony again, and Tony has barely even mentioned his name. Until episode 237, when Jeff took matters into his own hands. Knowing that the audience missed him, Jeff, quote, stormed the stage at the Comedy Store.
Awesome. Two of our favorite guests. They've both been on the show. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. What are you doing? Whoa, what the fuck is that? You gotta get him out. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. What are you doing? Whoa, out of here. What's going on? No, you gotta leave, dude. No, you can't do that. You have to get him out of here. That's the former Iron Patriot, Jeff Crabtree, and he just stormed the stage. You have to get him all the way out of here. That is so crazy, Iron Patriot. I'm so disappointed in you. Wow. I thought that was it. I thought that was truly it. I saw him coming up. I pictured this numerous times. He was the entire, he was the band for the first, 50-some, 60, 70-some episodes of the show. He was the Iron Patriot. He wore a suit. Slowly over time, we found out that he was insane. He's been messaging us for a little over a year or two continuously to no response. And he just jumped up on the stage. And you saw that live. That was a live part of the show. If you're wondering why we call ourselves the #1 live comedy podcast in the world, that's why. Not #1 pre-taped comedy podcast.
That was creepy. I thought it was a biker.
I'm
I thought
genuinely
I
shaken
thought he
up.
lost his bicycle and he was like coming up to his
I
ass
saw
or
that
something.
fucking face. I checked both hands to make sure there were no weapons. But if there was a weapon, I was going to do this crazy front kick. I was half a second away from blasting this way. Exactly. That's what it would have sounded like. That was a very scary moment. I can't believe he thinks that that's okay.
Yeah, well, I think that's the whole thing. He doesn't really think much.
We have to get like a restraining order or something.
Yeah.
This just got weird. Shit
Yeah.
just got very real.
Yeah.
And he like looked at the camera and shit. Like, we're going to edit that out.
Yeah, we'll definitely edit that out.
Wow, that's crazy. So only you guys will ever know that that ever happened just now.
Look, I get it. But while this isn't acceptable behavior, Tony takes every opportunity to make it a far bigger deal than it was. He said many times that he, quote, thought he was going to die. Since then, anytime Jeff's name is brought up, Tony calls him crazy and dangerous. More than that, Tony has done nothing to stop the flow of Kill Tony fans constantly attacking and harassing Jeff on his own YouTube page. Kill Tony Karaoke, go check him out. Jeff was always eccentric and even a bit quirky. But in my opinion, if Jeff Crabtree has indeed lost his mind, it's because of what Tony Hinchcliffe did and is still doing to him. The curious case of Jeff Crabtree, I believe, is the closest to legally pursuable on our list of Tony Hinchcliffe's ruined life victims. Working title. Tony has disgraced him in all senses of the word. Yes, technically Jeff quit the show on his own, but with the factors I've shown here, I think you'll agree that Tony has done more than just let him quit. Tony Hinchcliffe has repeatedly, consistently slandered Jeff's name, making it impossible for him to bounce back. With Tony's influence he has, or had, at the Comedy Store, he could easily have lifted Jeff's lifetime ban for, quote, storming the stage on Kill Tony. Instead, Tony perpetuates the narrative that Jeff is a dangerous man who's not to be trusted and is, in Tony's own words, completely crazy. But as is the case with so many of our stories on this channel, this tale is still unraveling.
You think you're better than me, Tony Hinchcliffe. Motherfucking Tony Hinchcliffe, you think you're better than me. You're dust in the wind, you will die. You took everything, you greedy motherfucker. You and your friend Brian Redband, you took everything, but you guys are dust in the wind. You will be cremated or put in the ground.
Quick call to action. If you can think of ways that I can make this channel better, please let me know in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to hear more, because we are indeed of a kind. But I have been Critical Leaks, and in the meantime, be nice.